Sustainable agriculture is a part of the blue economy, and that includes trees. Nick Munkovich is a forester. His job is to manage how trees are harvested.
Well, I got into forestry because I like the woods. I like to hunt, I like to fish, I like to camp. And, you know, to me, it is a big deal to make sure that we do things responsibly.
It wasn't always that way. The timber industry has been a mainstay of Michigan's blue economy for nearly 2 centuries. But it almost disappeared, and jobs and a way of life were threatened. Charles Lundquist knows all about the history of logging in the UP.
Originally, there were just some men who went out and chopped down trees. White pine, of course, was the tree they were really after through most of the 19th century. But as logging became more organized, you had logging camps that began to emerge.
With logging camps came industrial logging. Millions of pine trees, worth more than all the gold in California, were clear-cut. After a century of industrial logging, the once massive forests were reduced to a fraction of their original size.
You see pictures of the way it looked, and it was really barren, really barren. There were just stumps, no trees. You know, they cut every tree down that was going to be of any value to them. And it was, of course, at that time that people began to think, what do we do now? You know, the trees are gone.
Throughout the 20th century, environmentalists and government agencies worked hard to restore forest habitats throughout the Great Lakes, planting millions of trees. But most of the land in the Great Lakes region is in private hands or owned by timber companies. Environmentalists, loggers, and foresters must work together to develop land management plans that allow for sustainable timber harvesting and for the preservation of the natural environment.
There's an awful lot of wildlife, birds included, that take up residence in the Upper Peninsula. And yes, it does speak to the quality of the woods and the water of our area.
Areas that are managed by foresters like Nick Munkovich.
These forests up here in the Upper Peninsula, they produce high-dollar, high-value logs that actually sometimes get exported to other countries, you know, to be turned. Those are really special logs.
It's not just foresters that have a role to play in keeping these trees around for generations to come.
If you drive the highways in this area, you're bound to run across some big logging truck on its way to the mill. So there's an awful lot of employment in the woods.
In Michigan, the forestry industry generates over $16 billion in economic activity, and it employs over 70,000 people in jobs like logging and transportation and at lumber and paper mills. For modern woodsmen, sustainability is a smart decision, both environmentally and economically.
These loggers rely on this forest just as much as we do. You know, a lot of these loggers, these are family-owned businesses. Some of these are third-generation family loggers, and their kids are coming up in it too. You know, so they want to make sure that there's wood to cut too. And that's what forestry is all about. You know, we believe in cutting trees, but we also believe in growing trees. That's the balance.
Now the forests are back, and they're a vital part of the blue economy.
For more on the Great Lakes and the blue economy, please visit greatlakesnow.org.